Welcome back on this very beautiful Friday evening in the fall here. Down on the water again where we can find a little bit of peace and not have to chase Tammy and the dogs into the bedroom to be quiet. Today I want to talk to you about teeth. Had an artist friend of mine some years ago, painter, call me up and say, Dean, how do you feel about Jesus and teeth? And it took me a moment. I had to think about that, and I thought, well, yes, I think he has them. I think he has them, definitely. I'm for Jesus and teeth. I was obviously missing the point there. His point was, as a professional painter hired by people to do pictures of Christ in different situations, he had encountered some drama over the idea of depicting Christ with a smile, and then more drama as he considered Christ being depicted with a smile that was large enough to show teeth. And he was curious about what my feelings were regarding Christ and smiles and large enough to show teeth. And I guess in rethinking it, I kept my answer pretty much the same. I am for it. I think our sense of humor as a characteristic is a gift given to us by God. They say laughter is the best medicine, and if you're not sure, try it out. A good laugh will generally make you feel better when you're feeling down in life otherwise. I heard someone say once that trouble shared is cut in half, while joy shared is doubled. And it's pretty neat how that works when you share joy. My feeling about Christ has always been that whether it's finding the sheep that was lost and bringing him home to the fold to throw a celebration, or looking at just after he throws the Pharisees and the traders out of the temple courtyard and the children run around singing and praising his name, Christ had joy in his life and experience. I think as Christians, we too often focus on the sadness or the sorrow, the passion, the concept that Christ's life was filled with pain and trouble and suffering. And yet as God, as man God, what he knew he was doing was spending time with his creation, people that he cared about, people that he wanted to be with for eternity. God, the word used in Genesis, is a plural. It's God the family. It's one of the reasons, if you've ever been confused as you read the creation story, you read things like God said, let us. God said, let us. It's because there's that communal bond between them. I don't know how we've gotten caught in such a trap where Christianity seems to have this downturned face. I know there's a comedian that once said Christianity is the only group of people that can sing songs with words, lyrics filled with joy, love, celebration, and happiness, but frequently downturned expressions on their faces. Well, that's not really the point of where I'm going, although I want to address one of those specific topics that seems to get us into that place. That topic is forgiveness. As a kid growing up, through my formal religious education, I was always taught a couple of basic things. One, that I would never be good enough to deserve salvation and forgiveness from God. And two, I would never be done seeking or searching for that. It seemed to me that the Christian's life work at that point must be spent trying to earn or live up to the forgiveness that was given freely as a gift. I suppose it's true that I probably don't deserve that. I don't know if anybody does. And yet I have to believe that the God that created us to be in partnership with him is one that wants us to be in partnership, in relationship with him, not constantly groveling on the floor trying to get there. So inasmuch as I suppose it's true that I could never earn that relationship or deserve it, I could take great joy in the idea that it's a free gift given to me. And so though I might never be able to earn it, there's no doubt that I have participation in it. And that's something worth celebrating. Forgiveness becomes a particularly keen one. I think one of the reasons that we struggle so much with the idea of God's forgiveness to us is because we struggle so much with the concept of forgiving others. It's easy to hold a grudge on someone who's done something to us. It's easy to hold a grudge on someone who did something minor to us. To always remember that one little thing. And every time some other little thing comes up, hold it against them as well, so we can stack on that thing. See, I told you that guy was no good. He did this, and then he did this, and then he did that, and then he did the other. So curious to me that biblically Christ seems to link our ability to forgive with our ability to be forgiven. There's no doubt in my mind that the Christ who hung on the cross and looked out at those who were mocking him, spitting on him, ridiculing him, and says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do," is a God who has forgiven us while we were yet sinning, as it says in Romans. It seems clear to me that Christ's point in this was not that God won't forgive us unless we forgive others, because he forgives us while we're not forgiving others. What it seems to me the point is that unless we learn to forgive, we'll never understand the idea of what it means to be forgiven, even though you didn't deserve it. There's a famous, what do I call this guy? An inspirational attitude adjustionist, positivity attitude inspirational person. I don't go for all that stuff typically. Named John Lockwood Huey, who says, forgive others. Go ahead, forgive others. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Holding a grudge against someone does really nothing to them other than the moments when we could act on it, which I'm not sure what that says about us if we're waiting for that, but I'm sure it's not good. But it says everything about us if we're willing to forgive them, even when they're not asking for forgiveness. I think Jonathan Lockwood Huey's point was that when we harbor anger against other people and we don't forgive, it doesn't really make their day any worse, but it often makes our day a lot worse. It's hard to remember how many people you have to have grudges against and keep those up. It's hard to remember when you meet someone that's happy and gregarious that may have done something wrong to you that we don't like them because that one thing that they did so many years ago. Boy, am I glad God forgives us, and I'm glad the way he forgives us too. When you read his statements about the children of Israel, I just love this. As you work through the Kings in the Old Testament, it becomes so ironic to me, not ironic, that's a bad word, although it is sort of ironic. It's not a good word though. It becomes so amazing to me that you'll see God talking to these kings, Jehoiakim and Jehoiachin and Zechariah and this one and that one and the other one. And he says to them, you know, you guys don't follow me with the perfection that your forefathers did. Those people that followed me out of Egypt, with no question their allegiance was to me. They didn't complain, they didn't sour as I kept the shoes on their feet for 40 years in the desert. And you go back and read those stories and you recognize that those people never stopped complaining. But when God forgives you, it's as if it never was. And you can see in his spirit and in his attitude that he's moved on, and that's not a part of the story anymore. I got to tell you, as Christians, we need to get better at that, because we do live in a world where people like to hold grudges against each other. We remember the sins of someone from years and ages ago, and we hold those things up like champions that we cart around with us, and really it's an albatross around our neck. Letting go brings peace, and that's where I have to say Jonathan Lockwood Huey, or however you pronounce that crazy last name, really touched on something. It doesn't matter whether they deserve forgiveness or not. You deserve peace. Letting go of something that someone did wrong to you allows you the ability to let go of that anger and to maybe turn the corners of your mouth up a little bit from a frown into a smile. Anger and resentment, harboring grudges, also creates anxiety as we get into situations where we have to deal with people. And it's so interesting to me that half the time the person that we're harboring a grudge against doesn't even know that they've done something wrong to us, or remember or understand that we've taken such offense to it. And yet encounters bring up such anxiety and stress in our lives. It's hard to live happy if you're holding on to grudges. It's hard to live the way Christ asked us to if we're holding on to grudges. And so here's another one of those points where the wisdom of God is so great that here he gives us another thing that someone will take and make a law and say, if you don't forgive, then God won't forgive you, and you're going to be cast aside and you won't be a part of heaven. And what God is saying to you is, folks, if you want to live a happy life, don't hold grudges against other people. Let those things go. I admit I have to get better at this myself. It's an introspection to think of all the different areas in my life where I'm cautious or guarded against people because of things that have happened in the past. Letting go is a fantastic thing, something we all should do. And so I got this challenge for you going into this week. Think about somebody that's done you wrong that maybe doesn't even know they did you wrong, and forgive them. Let go of your anger and your resentment. Let go of whatever it is that you're holding on, and let all of that become part of some story that is not yours. And allow your story to be one of forgiveness, one of moving on and looking forward, one with a smile on your face and peace in your heart that says, I belong to the King who challenges me in all kinds of wonderful ways to make my life better. That's another message that we could carry to the world if we were doing this properly, to show people what's better about being a follower of God. It's not scary and frightening and groveling and this and that. It's about forgiving so we can let go and grow in relationship. Friends, it's not just according to Christ, your neighbors or yourself or you're this or you're that. It's the one who did you wrong. And he goes through that over and over again. So today I'm going to close out here with you on that thought. Find some deed or some misdeed or something that happened that you took offense to and let it go. I'll leave it up to you to whether you let someone know that you let it go or not. But if you do, my challenge would be not to be confrontational, but to be humorous about it. You know that thing that happened that you probably never knew was offensive to me? Believe it or not, I finally let it go. I love you, and see what brings up opportunities for new relationships as you go. We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Take care, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.